Here we go. Seattle Sports Weekly. I'm Osvita Mara here. Thanks everyone for joining. Appreciate that. And exactly another show. Charles will come on, a Hammaker in the second half hour. Talk about Colt Emerson, the rookie, the one, all the buzz that's going on over there, and we'll hit. Oh shoot, they play tomorrow, yeah. And we'll hit. Talk a little bit about the Storm. They are back home, but before we do that, in my crosstalk, I a couple things, right? We'll talk about the Seahawks and whatnot. Um, we'll talk about the goings on in Lake City. That is in Nathan Hale High School. Interesting. We got three teams in state. Old high school buddy of mine, Damon Jones, is like, "Hey, did you know?" I'm like, "No, I didn't know." And so we will tell you. We'll let you know about what's going on. But first, before I get to that, I'll talk about this. What's on my mind in terms of Christopher Walken. I don't drink beer. I don't drink. I drank for I don't know 15 years now. Um, but I love the Miller Lite commercial. And Walken is in. He's in the bar. There's this guy there, and he's looking at the girl, and he says, I'm gonna flub it all up. I was trying to see if I could get the script online. I couldn't, but it's really about he's like, live a little, don't just like her. And it's this whole I'm really taking this thing about talk to strangers, go over, say hello. And it's really about saying yes. And he says, do that thing, right? Instead of just saying no. Whether we always get people, we always get invites, right? And I must admit, I'm probably the pandemic and I find more excuses not to go. But I'm kind of saying, I'm gonna do that thing. I'm gonna say hello to strangers. Ditch going home is what he's kind of saying. And I think that's just kind of a cool way to live life. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm ditching all that, right? I mean, I'm not going to just start talking to anybody and everybody. Actually, yes, actually, anybody and everybody, right? And not being a jerk and not being intrusive. And I did that yesterday in between a meeting I had. Buren, I was in the central area. That's the other thing. There's no coffee shops anymore in Seattle, good coffee shops. Broadcast Cafes, one, they close at 4. Wait, what? Coffee shops are closing at 4? It's because of the pandemic. And so, the hours have been cut. I remember coffee shops open until midnight. Then it was 11 because they catered to the college, right? The college student crowd. But yesterday, I was like, wow, we can't even find a coffee shop somewhere there in the central area. And there were two that I used to go to, both closed. Oh, wow. Walgreens closed today. D Money. I did not know that. I wish you could get on. We could do a real show where you could just come on and we could do crosstalk with the producer. But so there's like closed. See, I worry about that whole area, that Jackson. What are they going to do with it? I think the auto place is still there, and there's some Chinese place that's there, but State Farm used to own the building there. But anyways, yeah, and Starbucks used to be there, and then I think somebody took it over, then they didn't. Who knows? But yeah, that saddens my. It's just the state of Seattle, and it's not that is not an excuse because it's not. It's just not good enough, and that's the economy. People will say, it's because theft and people are coming in. Well, people can't afford things, right? Price is too high. So use some of that. Yeah, unfortunate, but it's kind of a reckoning. Some of these businesses, you know, um, on the front end, and they don't treat customers well. And then, you know, wait, I got spending power. I'm coming in here to spend the little that I have. You jack up the prices. You got horrible customer service, and then you're looking at me crazy. I'm good. I'm out. I'm out. I did that with the QFC. That was 145th out here, and I went in, and some security guy was coming crazy at me, following me. And then as I'm going out, I'm like, bro, my hands are full. I'm trying to get to the checkout stand, which by the way has a long line. And then, anyways, the point is, uh, so then the guy kind of, I don't know, came at me, started talking about the hat I have, the security guy, and he thinks it's a big joke. And I'm like, hey man, I'm a customer. I'm here to get my stuff. And he walks towards me. I said, man, back up, talk to the manager. She's incompetent. I'm like, you know what? I'm good. I'm good. I'm not coming here no more. So I didn't. And took my money to another QFC for Admire or whatnot. Now I'm back there again because I let a month go by and I talked to one of the managers I knew and everything like that. Because I think we have to speak up. We have to make choices and we have to speak up. So anyways, yesterday I did find this coffee shop. It's right there. So it's a queer owned bar. I mean, queer owned coffee shop, and they hold no bones about it. It's right there in Union, 19th and Union. It's perfect and small. You slide in there, and queer owned. It's obvious. Their Wi-Fi says celebrate queerness, and I'm like, cool. So I asked him why. I mean, am I missing something? He said no. I was like, cool. Said because we want to acknowledge. It's just a great coffee shop, and of course they're playing the music I loved. I had my AirPods on and my laptop, but their music was so good. I just listened to that. And D Money will be mad about this, but I made the flyer for the show. Flyer for the show was made yesterday, 4 p.m. because I was going to make sure I get it out early. Issues, I don't get it out to the producer. Whoops. Might want to check that. All right. So there you go. Y'all, yeah, that's a really good coffee shop there, Broadcast Cafe. I mean, it's if you get there before 4 o'clock, there's Pratt Park, really cool. I've been going there for a lot of years. So, but they close at 4, so get there. Yeah, because I was making an appointment to get out to Tom's B&M Auto out in Linwood. If you want your car taken care of, go out there. That's enough. We're not going to be giving out too much free advertising, but Tom's being out in Linwood. Good place. Good place. So brings us back to Nathan Hale. So I was really a little bit surprised. So because Mr. Damon Jones, who's Mr. Metro, he's more Metro than me, than most people, but the guy won't come on the show. He's one of those people that will talk and it's all institutional knowledge, but he ain't coming on no show. Fair enough. But so there I went, and I'm at MetroLeagueWA.org there, G Money. And so I looked up, and get this, Hale, the baseball team is in the playoffs, the soccer team, and the softball pitch. Now, what's interesting about the baseball team, I didn't play baseball in high school. So, if I remember Roosevelt way back in 1890, there was a good baseball. We had a pitcher that was really good. I want to say Scott, but I can't quite remember. We had, but we had a good baseball team. And, not because soccer was at the same time. But I'm looking at Hale. They are playing Ellensburg in the playoffs. And you got to like it. O'Day's playing Mountain View. And then you've got Chief South. The Hale and Ellensburg game is 1 p.m. postseason at Wheeler Field. And then O'Day plays Mountain View, Roy Johnson Field. It's got to be away. and then looks like Othello and Chief South, Othello High School. So Metro, hey, Roosevelt plays Mercer Island. There you go. So those are all games happening May 23rd. Uh, Good for the Metro League. Now, I can talk a little bit about soccer. There it is. And I think it's interesting. I can tie this in. Nathan Hale is playing Toppenish. And, there's a tie between a tie as in a link, as in together. And that is that Nathan Hale, Brian Smetzer, coach of the Seattle Sounders, went to Nathan Hale. And when his dad, Walter Smetzer, started the Lake City Hawks right here. And there wasn't really a lot of clubs back then. We're talking 80s, 77. And the Lake City Hawks were the best of the best, and they got all the players. And at that time, you could choose. When Brian told me he didn't play high school, but he went there. And the Lake City Hawks were notorious. They had all the players, some of the best players to play in the state. Because you had clubs like LVR, and you heard Peter come in and talk about Capitol Hill, but Capitol Hill Soccer. So you had those youth clubs. Lake City Hawks came in and took over, and they had been the premier soccer place there. So I'm not surprised that Hale's in there, because they do have a rich tradition. You hear about basketball and whatnot, but in soccer as well, those that are in the know will tell you Ballard was pretty decent for a while there. And then Jeff does in the 79, because Blanchette, who's playing Shorecrest, won state title 1980. And Roosevelt's won the soccer title a couple of times there. So we'll finish this off. Blanchette, Shorecrest, Lakeside, really good. Eastside Catholic plays Inglemore, Edmonds, Woodway. Lincoln of Seattle, they play Skyview. That's huge, because they weren't. Remember, Lincoln started as a 2-year. Even when they were the old Lincoln, that was the easiest. If you wanted to get lettered, if you wanted to get on the pitch, again, and you saw Lincoln in the schedule, and you weren't the starter, you were sure that was the game. You were going to get on there. So there you go. A little bit of the who's who there. Boys track and field, Renton. There you go. I'm going to give you a little bit of Renton Memorial Stadium at 12:30. That is tomorrow. So there you go. There's your little high school roundabout. All right. So we'll get back to kind of the funny thing happened. This is interesting. The Seahawks. So they're in phase 2. We talked about this a little bit. And the other thing is I should the schedule release. I did a schedule release there, and they got a decent schedule. But let me start off with phase. They're in phase 2, and I kind of give you an update. Coming up May 26, 28, 29. First, third, and fourth is when they do their the mini camp is coming up, but that is when they do their OTAs. So now all the veterans are back, and now what you're starting to do there is team drills, but you can't go team against team. So offense is doing individual drills, and offense against offense. When you get to the June 9th mini camp, June 9th and 11th, that's when what gets real. Because then there is some walkthroughs always available, but what happens is now you're almost basically playing flag football, and it's good for now you can start see the speed. Now you can have your 7-on-7, and so and what you'll now begin to see, take a quick peek, is you'll see that the Seahawks will sign Jadarian Price. They've signed everybody else but their number 1 draft pick. And it's not a big deal. This is what happens now, that each spot on the draft, right? If you're number 1, number 2, number 3, all the way in the first round, there's a certain amount of money that you're going to make. Now, where you're negotiating with the team is whether it's a how much the guaranteed contract your signing bonus is. It'll be for 4 years, right? All rookie contracts are 4 years with the team option to pick up the fifth. And so, don't worry. That's all that's going on in terms of the Darian Price. And you notice not a lot of the first round draft picks have not been signed. Kind of a funny thing came up in regards to Jackson Smith and Jigba. He uh, he got his award. If I can get to this, he got his award. If you remember, Jackson Smith was the National Offensive League Player of the Year, right? The AP. And so there was a mistake on his award, and I'm going to kind of get this out to you. Here it is.
It's getting disrespectful, guys. Defense, come on, bro. One word, man.
There you go. Jackson Smith and the Jigba. So he got sent his award, which is the NFL AP Offensive Player of the Year. Now, if you remember, during the NFL honors, let me back up. Thursday, during the Super Bowl, the actor was trying to be funny, um, and he called him Jackson Smith and Jigbu, which was like, just like, really, dude. To start it there, right? It was supposed to be a joke, and the joke didn't go right. And I'm like, why would you try to be funny? Dresky, the comedian, and so that was the first kind of funny, not funny. And now this happens, and Jackson Smith Jigba's taking it all in light, but it's just something that he was like, amazing. Why in the world is this going on? So what I'm going to do is show the video for the schedule release. I don't think I've shown you all that, and so we're going to go with that. Let me pop it up for you. And I won't play all of it because I think it's long. I don't want to take up. Okay, so there we go. Pop this up for you. We'll go over kind of the schedule, NFL schedule release, and we'll share the screen. We'll go there, and then there it is. And my thoughts on the schedule release.
Released the 2026 schedule yesterday, and here's a quick look at the Seahawks schedule. We'll take a little deeper dive early, but we can take a look at that because look, the season starts off preseason. You have 3 preseason games, one here against the Dallas Cowboys on August the 15th, and then Seahawks go to Tennessee, and then they will finish off with another game, obviously at Kansas City, and that is on the 28th of August. And probably won't see Ken Walker play in that game. I doubt you see any of the veterans play. They might play from the Seahawks perspective. They might play a quarter or so. Mike McDonald does like to get the veterans out there, but we'll just have to wait and see there. But anyways, the season kicks off right off on September the 9th, and this is Seahawks will kick off against the Patriots. You already know, and that is the team that they beat in Super Bowl down there in Santa Clara, Levi Stadium. So I thought this game was a little early. I didn't think it was going to happen. and most people didn't see this one coming just because they like the NFL normally likes to schedule that rematch later on in the season. In fact, it's the first time this has happened, I think, in over 10 years. So, the point of interest here: will Mike Vrabel and the Patriots moved on from the alleged affair that he's had with Diane Rossini? And maybe that's why it's important for the Patriots to get on the front end of this and get out there and play. Interesting to see if there'll be off field distractions for the Patriots. As for the Seahawks, this will be a good week here in terms of, where has your team taken that next step? And Mike McDonald likes to talk about that, right? In terms of the defense. And this will give an early look, but it'll be early. And then after that home game, the Seahawks will then head down to Arizona. Interesting game here because you will see both first round draft picks from Notre Dame, Jeremiah Love and obviously Darian Price will face off against each other. And Price has already said during rookie mini camp that he will meet with Love at midfield because they have that bond. And he said he's looking forward to that meeting each time the Cardinals and the Seahawks play. And then week 3, Seahawks head over to the nation's capital. They play Nassau Stadium, but it's, to play the Commanders. And remember, this was a game where Jay McDaniel was hurt. So hopefully he will have returned. And another game here that the Seahawks, I wouldn't say a trap game, anything like that, but the Commanders are trying to, refine themselves. And this is one you got to get early, and you should. By then, your third game, your defense should be set. You should know kind of what you have in Price and everyone else in terms of the offense. And early on prediction, maybe Zach Charbonnet should be back by then. I think if he's not, that would be an issue there. And then, now you get into the meat and potatoes of your season because now you're playing playoff teams, and that would be number 4. Week 4, Sunday, you're hosting the Chargers. And I think this is a interesting. This should be an offensive chance to see can your team, how do they stack up against Justin Herbert and against a Chargers team that, as I said, offensively is explosive and also a playoff contending team, and I would say more of a Super Bowl contending team because they did get in the playoffs. And in terms of the playoff teams, it continues because next week you then host the San Francisco 49ers. And last year, the Niners came up here and beat the Seahawks. And they will have some revenge on their mind. There's no doubt about that because the Seahawks, went down there and beat them. And obviously in the last game of the season, the playoffs, and then, you go out here and you beat the Patriots in Levi Stadium and celebrate in their house, if you will. And I don't think the Patriots, I don't think the Niners have forgotten that. So then you have a Thursday night game with the Denver Broncos. You're at the Broncos. And again, another one in terms of offensive test to your defense. And, you're going to get to see Sean Payton knows how to, one of the better coaches, offensive minds in the game. And so he will have something dialed up. Again, this is another playoff team. So another big test for your defense. And the hits will keep on coming, if you will, because in week 7, another prime time game. And this time, you Hawk fans get to see Super Bowl MVP Ken Walker, who obviously Kansas City Chiefs come rolling into town. And by then, Patrick Mahomes will be rolling and ready to go. His knee, there's no doubt it should be recovered by then. And, you want to play one of the best quarterbacks of all time and beat him, right? You want to make sure he's ready. And again, another big test for your defense. And again, a welcome home for reunion for Ken Walker. And then the next week, Monday night, you're back on prime time. And this one is against the Chicago Bears. And you're going to what? Kobe Bryant rolls into town. So another former Seahawk comes in, and just have to wait and see how y'all kind of reception you're going to give them. But the Bears, big season for them in terms of can they take that next step? Now they're a playoff team, but can they, get into the conference games and things like that? Or it's a big year for the Bears. So the Seahawks Monday night, you've got a great record, and you should, you know, your goal would be to continue to do that. Winnable win there, and then another one. You go back. That is, you get the two Notre Dame running backs will meet again at Lumen Field as you host the Cardinals, Arizona Cardinals, who you beaten. This is a win game here. A must-win game. They all are. I get that, but you're at home, and again, the Cardinals. They revamped. They got rid of Kyler Murray. By then, their offense should have, be at least crawling along. And this is the second game you'll have played them. So hopefully this will be 11 in a row against the Cardinals that you beat them. But if you haven't and you lost down there, then this is your chance to rebuild that. But this is a team that's rebuilding, and you, as established Super Bowl contender, should take care of business at home. And then you're on the road, the reunion. This is just a reunion tour for the Seahawks all of next year, because next week you are in Las Vegas, and then Clint Kubiak, who was the former offensive assistant coach here, is now the head coach for the Raiders, and Freddie Mendoza is the quarterback, number one draft pick overall, and your defense should do enough to be able to confuse the young man a little bit, and you should have that speed. But I'm sure Clint Kubiak knows your defense as well, and he'll dial up some plays to try to exploit that. But you're looking for your running game to prevail in that game. And then, interesting enough, you get a bye week. If you're the Seahawks, which is really huge because.
All right, I'm going to stop at the bye week there, and just for the sake of time, I'll roll you through it. Yeah, week 12, they go to the 49ers again. Um, yeah, and there's nothing really need to be said about that. Niners will be chomping at the bit for that game. Week 13, you're in prime time again Monday, and you're going to have um, the Dallas Cowboys here. And that's a big reunion, so to speak, again for D Law and also Dante Fowler and Erden Durde. So we will, yeah. And then you've got the Giants the following week again. Actually, the nice thing about that Monday is the Seahawks get a little bit of a break in the schedule, so they won't 10 days, and then it's the New York Giants, and that is Mike McDonald's former coach, if you remember, John Harbaugh, who's now coach of the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, he's now New York Giants, but was the Baltimore Ravens, and also the Seahawks linebacker coach was the defensive coordinator for the Ravens, but now he is the linebackers coach for the Seahawks. And then you've got you're at Philly on the 19th, and then you finish off this. No, you play the on Christmas Day, so get your shopping done early, y'all. You play the Rams on Christmas Day, and then you play Carolina Panthers, and then you finish off the season. And that game, week 18, is to be determined. That's a game everybody's waiting for. So you play the Rams 2 of your last 3 games of the season. You saw what happened this year. Exciting, made for TV. Now, if you ask me, a quick tip from me, I would say, look, if you want to travel, go to the Vegas game, get out to the Philly game, and get out to the DC games. Those are all games that um, are fun trips that I would say. I've gone to all those 3, and I will. But Philadelphia is cool because you've got the Liberty Bell, you got the Freedom Center, all right there. So in DC, it's always any chance you can get to DC, nation's capital. Despite everything else, there's so much to do there, so many museums and everything else. So And I have family there. So, all right, that takes us to the break, and then we're gonna bring in the Charles Hamaker. We're gonna talk Mariners, and then we'll do a little bit. Well, Mariners, Storm, and who is this Colt Emerson kid? Um, is he the real deal? And Luis Castillo. What is going on? All right, this is Seattle Sports Weekly. We'll be back after the break.
Ladies and gentlemen. Speak up, Seattle. We are RainierAvenueRadio.world, the station that cares.
Don't ever forget.
Buying a home isn't just a purchase, it's a legacy move. Maybe you're just starting your home ownership journey, or maybe you're a homeowner who's fallen behind on your mortgage, property taxes, or HOA dues. Wherever you are on your path, Washington Home Ownership Resource Center connects you to trusted guidance every step of the way. Vetted resources, trusted referrals, real support. If homeownership is your goal or you're trying to protect the home you already have, don't face it alone. Visit homeownership-wa.org or call the Homeownership Hotline at 877-894-4663 today. The Washington Home Ownership Resource Center, educating and empowering future and current homeowners in Washington State.
Hey y'all, it's Traffic Jam with Kareem.
Thursday at 4 p.m.
Hey, Traffic Jam. Rain Avenue Radio. Download the app so you don't miss out what's popping on Crack with Shannon. It's your boy, Cream the Dream, on another beautiful week on here on Traffic Jam in Seattle. I hope you guys doing what you're supposed to do, being you're supposed to be. I got a good show for y'all. A lot to talk about. You know, Kareem the Dream, keep up with everything.
Get your entertainment news with Kareem on the Traffic Jam. Thursday at 4 p.m.
Calling all entrepreneurs. Evergreen BizLink is your hub for business technical assistance, tools, and financing 24/7. At the heart of Evergreen BizLink is a free resource navigator connecting you to over 130 nonprofit partners all across Washington State. Evergreen BizLink is a powerful network of business partners ready to support you and your business. Visit www.evergreenbizlink.com, empowering businesses to succeed.
Join us this Tuesday on Real Estate and Money, brought to you by Rainier Avenue World, Tuesday at 2:30 in Seattle or in Denver at 3:30. Join our hosts, Violetta Strash and Tina Lombard, as we bring to you all things current real estate and money.
Love food? Here are some storage tips to keep it fresh longer. Store cut fruits and vegetables in the fridge. Place in reusable containers. Keep bread in the freezer for longer storage. 40% of food in the U.S. goes uneaten. Save money, save food, save the planet. Visit Seattle Public Utilities for more tips.
You know you can't get enough of RainierAvenueRadio.world.
All right. We are back from the break. No more football. Oh, done with all that. So we're going to talk a little Mariners. And I can't think of anybody who covers the Mariners. He's there. Oh, he missed one day. I must admit. When was it? I went to the Mariners game, press box, and looked over there, and there was no Charles Hamaker. So we're going to find out. Charles, where were you? You missed one Mariner game in the last 2 years, sir. Where were you? I forgot to ask you about that. We're going to bring you in, Charles Hamaker of Circling Sports, and find out where he was. He missed. I tell you where he was. Where he was yesterday was he was at the at T-Mobile Park, and he saw the Colt Emerson. I believe he did. We'll find out. So, Charles, you available to come on? All right. Last time we had him, he broke his mic. So we will wait for Charles to come in because we'll get some answers. That's the one thing we like to do.
There we go.
There we go. All right. First of all, thanks for coming on the show.
Of course.
of circling Seattle sports. Let's just start with before we kind of run up on you. Let's start with what's circling sports up to, just overall.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, like you and I were talking about at T-Mobile the other day. You know, we got to look at the World Cup coming here, right? It's very exciting. You got to be ready for that. And when that rolls in, our Storm will be back on Wednesday after they were on the road for a little bit. And yeah, as soon as I get done with you, Maz, I got to head down to the ballpark for Game 2 of this White Sox series. See what Colt does today, right? So yeah, no, well, and I will say, I'll answer your question. I was across the street at the Rain game that day. So you know, the soccer teams, there's so much going on, and especially with them playing their last games before the World Cup comes through, I figured I had to be there.
What happened? It's just so one of your screens must have broke down. I say that tongue in cheek, y'all, because when you're sitting next to Charles or in the same press box, he's got 3 screens, right? I mean, it's like Houston Command Center here, and he's got all the games going on, and I think he's also got a camera, on his abode as well, making sure the security's going well. But all in all, Charles, I think I got this video that we're gonna play, and it's from last night. And let me see if I can, and then you just after this, you tell us what it was like last night. Because there was obviously a moment for the
Colt 0 for 3 tonight, looking for his first big league hit tonight, his second game. Mariners' top prospect who made his major league debut yesterday. Drops that in for a strike. He goes 0-2.
And again, back-to-back changeups. He's doubling up on that changeup. And even though you know he's got that pitch and you're down 0-2, you got to reset for the fastball.
2 outs, 2 on an 0-2. Next pitch to Emerson. Count evens. Two. Fights off a changeup on the corner. Tough pitch.
I tell you what, he saw some nasty changeups from Lucas Giolito making his season debut yesterday. He had some really good at-bats against that fastball changeup. Back-to-back sequencing. Good job right there, staying in the at-bat, fouling that pitch off.
Naylor, both runners going. Found back. Mariners have pulled a double steal once already tonight. Naylor has a couple of bags this evening. Now with 12 on the season.
I love the fact it's continued on for 2025 in stealing bases. Stole third base 8 times last year. Love it.
Again, the 2-2. Down the right field line, into the corner, and this is gone! Colt Emerson, you're not in your backyard anymore. Your first big league home run, your first major league hit.
All right. We better stop there because, MLB thinking that we prior to the broadcast. Charles, the moment.
I mean, it's incredible, Maz, because I mean you've covered a ton of athletes in your career, right? Like this kid is 20. He's very mature. Like you just watching that AB, doesn't give up anything easy, right? He's not swinging for the fences all the time. He even said it. He was just trying to hit the ball up the middle. He's going to be really impressive. I mean, in that game too. I mean, you want to talk about the moment. I mean, you were there on Sunday. They got swept by San Diego. It's not good. You talk about Luis, and we'll get to that. It's kind of tough. Cal's hurt, Brendan Donovan's hurt, and you're losing a bunch. So they were holding on tight in this game, and the kid comes to the plate late, and you think, oh boy, like his family's here, his girlfriend's here, like you need that big league knock, and for him to come through in a big way like that, he met the moment. He met the moment, and it's going to be really fun to see how he'll build on that. He looks real good. I mean, just from defensively at the plate there, you saw he's real mature. I know you've heard him speak. Like he doesn't seem like a 20-year-old, so he'll be really exciting.
Where did he come from?
So he was a draft pick a few years ago, the 2023 draft actually. So when All-Star Week was here, right? When All-Star Week was here, he's a high schooler. When high schoolers are kind of hit and miss because I mean they're kids, right? And I mean he's just kind of rocketed up the minor leagues. I mean he made it to AAA at the end of the year last year, and he was hitting bombs. And people are like, "Hey, we need this kid right now," because the Mariners are making their playoff push last season. He was on the taxi squad last season, so when they were beating Detroit in the ALDS and then playing the Blue Jays in the CS, he was around the ball club, so we kind of got to experience that a little bit. AAA has been interesting for him this year. He had a wrist injury, so he wasn't hitting as well, and he kind of struck out a lot. But there was some concern about that. Pacific Coast League pitching is AAA pitching is as close as you get to MLB, right? And so you're wondering if he's striking out a bunch down there, how's he going to do up here? But I thought he's looked real competitive. He's not giving up anything easy. He's not, trying not to do too much, which is really impressive. I'm sure, anybody who's making a debut, right? They want to come out, they want to make an impression. He doesn't seem like he's doing that. He seems like he's sticking to who he is. He's the Mariners' top prospect in their farm system, the number 6 overall in baseball, according to MLB, and number 3 in baseball, according to Baseball America. So, I mean, there's a lot of hype. There's a lot of excitement. But, I mean, he looks the part. And you don't want to judge too early, right? But, I mean, it's impressive, especially when he has a moment like last night.
Charles, how should they manage him, right?
Right. So from general manager Justin Hollander, after he got called up, said he's going to be the everyday third baseman. They want him in there right away. They sent Leo Rivas down to Tacoma. They will say they're going to give him an off day because in the minors, every Monday is off. They do not play on Mondays, but over the next few weeks, they do have scheduled off days. They're going to play him there. They're going to give JP Crawford a day off because typically Emerson will play shortstop. He can play third base. Which he'll be doing, but he kind of came up in the minors as a shortstop. So they'll give JP a day off every once in a while. I know he's kind of dealing with some stuff physically, so that'll be good to get JP off of his feet. But yeah, they're going to have him in there. Hollander said they're not going to, have this be a tryout, right? And just have him go out there for a little bit. They want him to fill in and they feel like he's ready. So, there'll be a learning curve, right? As there always is when someone gets called up, but early indications are good. He looks smooth. The defense, the defense hasn't been great for the Mariners this year. So to have him there at the hot corner, he looks good so far, Maz. I know you sit where we do up in there, so you can kind of miss third base sometimes. But what I've seen look good.
So they're going to play him third and shortstop. And JP, as we all know, is this out of respect for JP?
Yeah, it's a good conversation. He's a clubhouse leader, right? He's kind of the unofficial captain of this team the last few years, and he's done a lot for them. He's a big clutch hitter for them. He started to hit the ball a lot more in recent weeks. He is in the last year of his contract, so this does make things very interesting. Emerson, they signed him to an extension a month or two ago, and they said, we're not going to bring him up yet, and they're not pushing JP out of his spot this year, but you can kind of see the future, right? The plans are here. But Yeah, because a lot of people have said put him at short, take JP out of there. I do not think the Mariners are going to do that. They respect their veterans a lot. Like when we talk about Luis again, we'll talk about him. They're not going to go out and smear anybody. I know there's different ways to handle things, but I think a lot of it is a respect for JP and what he's brought to this organization since he was part of the rebuild of this team back in starting in 2019.
And with that, Luis Castillo, what happened?
It's also tough, Maz. I mean, I hate to say that word again, but he's another guy they acquired in 2022 to be a big piece for them. He's got a good fastball. He's a leader of that rotation, right? Because a lot of the pitchers in that rotation, Brian Woob last night, Bryce Miller, George Kirby, Logan Gilbert, have all come up through the system, and he's kind of been their leader. He's getting hit real hard this year. His fastball isn't playing as well as it has in the years past. He's not walking as many guys, which is fine, but opposing batters are hitting him hard. They're getting the barrel, which anytime you give up barrels, it usually means hitting the ball hard or it's going over the fence. He's not getting a lot of ground balls, which ground balls, you get double play, you get an easy out, get out of the inning quicker. It's tough. Some of this comes with age, right? Father time comes for us all. He is 33, which is crazy to say in the retrospect, right? But it's kind of tough. Usually he pitches better in warmer weather, but even then that hasn't come. So maybe you think it's early in the season, right? It's just he needs to wait for it to warm up. So the whole piggybacking situation, they're going to have Bryce Miller start, and then whenever they deem Bryce is done, they'll have Luis go. And hopefully that'll save your bullpen a bit because the bullpen is banged up as well. Piggybacking typically doesn't work out really well, and it's kind of tough when you've got a veteran, right? Because you want to be respectful of him, but this isn't exactly an ideal situation. So I'm very intrigued to see how tonight goes.
So, right. So, okay. And how has the Mariners pitching staff been this year? I mean, we know Kirby and Brian Wu, and
it's those two guys actually I'd say have been your best performers, especially with Brian coming off of the fantastic year he had last year. If he's healthy going into the playoffs, right? They probably play in the World Series, but he dealt with that injury that he suffered in Houston. He's found his groove a bit more. He had a rough game the other time, 2 rough games the other time out. He was dynamite last night for them. George Kirby's, that's funny you say that, his last outing wasn't great, but otherwise he's been going really deep into games, which is valuable, right? You saved the bullpen. Logan Gilbert's had to labor through a lot of innings. Not a lot of easy games for him, a lot of pitches, not a ton of efficiency. Bryce Miller dealt with an injury in spring training and hasn't really been able to get going. He made his last appearance on the road trip in Houston look great. He'll go tonight. I think, Maz, when Bryce Miller's healthy, because of his fastball, all of these pitchers love to tinker, and by that I mean they love to, I've got a baseball here. They love to try different things, try different grips, learn from each other. It's the brainchild, right? And that's really cool that they're all doing that together. He does that a lot, especially. In my opinion, when he's healthy and when he's right, he's one of, if not your best. No, with Brian Wu, I'd say he's your second best pitcher on this staff. So I'm really excited to see how he looks tonight. But yeah, it's been tough because last year a lot of them dealt with injuries. Logan, George. This year they're healthy and they haven't quite all kind of clicked yet. But you've seen some good stuff with George and Brian and now Bryce.
And as a team, you need to get something going, correct?
Oh, 100%. I was going to say, I almost forgot Emerson Hancock, who's come in and pitched really well too. He's pitched well enough where you can't kick him out of the rotation. But as a team, to get to your point, yeah, I was going to say, you mentioned, we'll go back to the Colt Emerson moment. They looked a lot more lively last night. They had more juice, you
Mm.
know, and you've seen it in sports where a team just maybe doesn't have it. They don't look like they're up for it, you know, and they were running around the base pass. Josh Naylor was kind of being the instigator, so to say, on the base pass. They were all they were jumping up and down for Emerson's home run. He was talking about how special it was to have veterans like Randy and JP and Julio waiting for him at the top step. You don't like to do the break glass in case of emergency all the time with prospects, but he seems to have brought a little juice, you know, because he's mature. They all know him because he's been in spring the last few years, and Dan Wilson said they respect him because of how he approaches the game. He's a humble kid, Maz. He was called up on Sunday like 3 hours before the game, and he said, "No, I didn't speed," and he was very adamant that he didn't speed. I'm like, Tacoma to Seattle in the afternoon is not ideal. You know, we all joked with him he must have sped. So, yeah, no, I think you really hope last night was a kind of injection of life for them, because that Padres series looked real rough. It did not look good.
All right. Let's go to the before we finish off with the storm. You covered the rain. What can you give us the rain update?
Yeah, man. They, I mean, you know how it is with soccer teams and not getting a lot of offense, because we've seen that at times in the last few years with the Sounders. They can't score. I don't think it's without talent. They've got a lot of young players. I talk about young players with the Mariners. The Rain have a lot of young players they've brought up over the last few years that have really helped them and have produced. They've brought in some veterans like Brittany Ratcliffe who have produced. Lynn Biondolo, formerly known as Lynn Williams, great striker for the U.S. She's out with maternity leave still. They'll probably get her after the FIFA Men's World Cup. They just can't score, man, and I think that's kind of eating at them, and it's eating at their defense. Normally, the Rain are a strong build from the back team, right? You know how that goes, and I think it's the stress of not being able to produce, put the ball in the back of the net, is eating at them. So you know they've got a couple more games before the break. They're gonna go play Boston. It's their first year in the league, the Boston Legacy. I think the break just can't come soon enough for them. They just kind of need a reset, because it's really bad. 5 matches where they haven't won. 5 matches they haven't scored a goal. When was the last time the Sounders went that long with? See what I mean? When was the last time the Sounders went that long without a goal? It's tough. I don't think they don't have the talent. It's obviously they have to figure it out, and you know you got to change some things up, I imagine. So I would imagine when they play Boston this weekend that we see some tweaks, but they're in a tough spot.
And where are they in the season?
They are just out of a playoff spot, actually. They started off really red hot. Their first 5 matches, they won 3 of 4. They were over in Spokane, right, because of the renovations to Lumen Field. And they were up, I think, as high as 2nd in the league. But now in the league table, there's 16 teams in the league now. They're down to 11th. They are 1 point out of a playoff spot. There's 8 teams that go to the playoffs, but they've just kind of, these last 5 matches where they haven't been able to win or score have really tanked them. So there's a lot to play for. The NWSL table is always very hectic, but they have to. They don't want to let this skid continue, right? Because if you don't turn things around pretty quick, you can sink.
All right, we got about 2-3 minutes. Big exciting news for the Storm on Friday. Well, what's happening there?
Well, there was the Grace Van Sluten or the Awa Fam. Are you talking about? Yes. Yeah. Awa Fam wins the title with Valencia over in Spain, and that means for Storm fans that they get to see the 3rd overall pick come back. The Storm made a roster move. They waived Grace Van Sluten. I was surprised, Maz. I'd be interested if we have time to hear your thoughts on that. I thought she'd play really well, but both of their development spots are full right now. So if they wanted to bring her back, they'd have to move somebody. But in the grand scheme of things, you can't let your worry about that stop you, because you got to get Awa Fam on this roster. They need help. Dominique Malonga's got a concussion. We don't know how long she'll be out. You're going to be without Ezzy for a couple more weeks, right? So they need her bad, and I imagine they're going to throw her into the fire, because Sonia Rahman said they'd give her maybe a day of rest. She said that at practice like a week ago or two, when they were home last. Sorry, but it's not going to be how Noelle Quinn in the Storm last year brought Dom in and kind of acclimated her, right? Gave her like a week. I was going to get right in there. So I'm very interested to see how that goes.
Yeah, because they've got a press conference with her on Friday.
Right. That is right.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So probably they got a game on Saturday or Sunday. Sunday. So she would play on Sunday, right?
Yeah, if she's gonna get here, yeah, so she wouldn't play tomorrow, right? Yeah, Friday and Sunday. Yeah, so I don't imagine they'd play her on Friday, and I've been surprised before.
But definitely Sunday.
Yeah,
you would see a play.
Yeah,
and we'll leave my opinion out of this. I got experts, with about about a minute or so. Where you at with the Storm?
None of this surprises me. There's a lot of stuff that's sloppy, right? And that's going to come with a team that's so many new faces that haven't played together and a lot of young players, right? Like this is not surprising. I think, like I wanted to talk about last week. It's like you just need to see improvement. If it's the same issues and there's no tangible or visual improvements, then it's a problem. It's, are you coaching it right? Are they receptive to that coaching? If they can start to kind of pick up to things and start to maybe plug the holes where they're not playing as well, then I'll feel good. But to me, at least, none of the mistakes that they're making are too shocking, especially with Dom being out last game, right? One of your best players, this star phenom young player being out, just kind of makes it even more complicated as a situation.
All right, he is Charles Hammaker of Circling Seattle Sports, and you can find him. Where can they find you, Charles? I know everywhere, but specifically.
Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, YouTube, just Circling Seattle's, all this stuff, Maz, all this stuff Circling Seattle Sports.
All right, well, there you go. Appreciate you coming on, my brother. You bring content, something that the fans appreciate. All right, we might see you tonight. Thanks, Charles. Charles Hammaker. I'm telling you, go there to Circling Sports. All kind of information. And I like one of his taglines. He says credentialed stuff. So this isn't just somebody, his organization and his staff. I mean, they're there. They're on the boots on the ground, credentialed. So it's not a third party, he said, she said type of content. It's real and it's thoughtful and it's thought provoking. So Circling Sports, and just appreciate him. Yeah, coming on. He's a regular, so we appreciate that. All right. So I think we are up at the end of the show. Appreciate y'all coming on. I just didn't even get to the Sounders, but yeah. Brian, they are struggling. I mean, the Sounders got a chance to finish off the season after their 22 home game unbeaten streak. There were some ties in there, got snapped by LA Galaxy. So now they have to regroup, and they will play AFC on a Sunday in SoCal. All right. Thank you all again, Charles Hammaker, for coming on. And E-Money, appreciate you. Thank you all for listening and watching Seattle Sports Weekly. We're out.